What's happening? You got the Retro Gaming Hippie, and today you can see we're coming at you from the toy room here. See the Macho Man on the ceiling there, because today I'm going to take a look at and give you a look at some of the toys, and in this case, kind of merchandise that I love to collect and that I collect just as much as I do video games. Now, recently, while I was looking on YouTube for something to listen to, I came across about a 3-year-old YouTube review of these items by a guy named Matt Cadrona, which I believe is a WWF wrestler. It was hard for me to kind of hear all the time. I listened to him at work, but I think he's a WWF wrestler, collects, of course, and it was quite the amazing video to listen to. I highly recommended it. If I could figure out how to link it, I would definitely link it so you can take a look at it, but I think if you just do a search for WWF Wrestling Tonka Buddies, I'm about to show you here in a minute, it should pop up fairly high up in the search category. It's an outstanding video. They give some great insights. They have a great interview with the lady who kind of started the lineup, and I learned some things that I didn't know about them myself, although it wasn't something I collected at that time, and I'll explain to that when I talk about the characters as I show you here in just a minute. But without further ado, this video, of course, is going to be sponsored by Widmer Hefeweizen, and today I broke out the fancy glasses. I love my WWF merchandise. That's a WWF glass Macho Man, of course. So today we're talking about, well, of course, the Wrestling Tonka Buddies. Now, this was a toy line that I'd seen, or merchandise line, when they came out, like maybe on commercials and whatnot, but they were right around the 1990s, 91, 92 time frame. And at that time, I was 17, 18 years old, although I was watching maybe a little bit of wrestling up until about 88, 89. I really wasn't into wrestling at that time, and I certainly wasn't going to get wrestling toys. However, the ones that they did make were definitely characters that I did enjoy in the much younger years, but most of my wrestling watching on television kind of phased out around 1986, 87, 88 is kind of pushing it. It wasn't something I definitely would have asked for. It wasn't definitely something I would sought out. I went to try to find, and plus I really wasn't into toys at that time. However, since I do collect toys now, and especially, like I said, funky merchandise, which I have lots of, I've come across every one except for 2 out of the 2 series that they did produce at the time. Oh, and I'd say in the last, 5 or 10 years I've been collecting at really good prices, of course, in really good condition, and I'm going to show you those today. And I'm also going to show you one WCW counterpart that I believe was made by Toy Box right around that same time. It was kind of modeled upon the same thing. So without further ado, let's show you who I have. We'll start off, of course, with the Macho King. Now, I absolutely love that they kind of look real just like back then, but they're also very sturdy and durable, and they make great pillows for driving or camping. Of course, there was the yellow and red Hulkster with the belt. Even had these little noses that protrude out. My favorite wrestler when I was really, really young, of course, the Ultimate Warrior with the belt and the paint and all that. Those were, I think, all the first series ones that they made, because I'm not missing any of those. Now, from the second series, the Big Boss Man, I was never a huge Boss Man guy. He was a great worker and everything. But, I can see why they did this in terms of look at his costume. Even has the, whole design he had in the sunglasses, of course. It looks really cool. And then also from the second series, they did Legion of Doom, or the Road Warriors, with the hair and everything and the tongue sticking out. Now, I never really watched them in the WWF. I know them mostly from reading about them from their times in WCW or NWA, or whatever you want to call that at the time. For me, I think it was NWA or Jim Crockett Promotions. They I only read about in magazines because I never got to see them on TV, and I never watched them when they were in the WWF. Really, I wasn't into wrestling. I was more of a demolition guy. So those are all of them but 2 from the series. I am missing $1 Million Man and Jake the Snake Roberts, which are really cool little items. If you don't watch the video, I will tell you the Series 3 that was planned but never came to fruition would have included, projectively, The Undertaker, who would have been super cool, Tugboat, Sergeant Slaughter, and Bret Hart. Sergeant Slaughter did get a Hasbro-style LGN figure, which is very spendy. I can't remember what time frame that could have probably came out in 1990, right around the same time as that. But yeah, it would have been a cool little buddy. Now, the other one I was going to show you, which is from 1990. In this case, I have a Ric Flair from the WCW, which was made by, yes, Toy Box Company. And very, very similar. Feels pretty sturdy. I believe they made Lex Luger, Sting, who would be super cool to have, you know, because Sting had this was Surfer Sting, which I think is a cool Sting. Again, I never really watched these guys on TV, Sting and UWF, but other than that, I only read about it in magazines, and that might be the only three they did. You know, I didn't really do a lot of research. I was just kind of going off the top of the head from what I've heard in the past, which was Sting, Luger, and Ric Flair here. It's not a bad looking figure. It doesn't have that protruding nose, so that's the only thing. It's just kind of all painted on. But I really dig how they look. You know, cartoony yet kind of manly, and that's something they also talked about in the video I saw. So there you have it. Wrestle Tonka Buddies. Super cool figure. Giving you a little bit of a peek inside my toy collection, which includes quite a few items. If you like to see some toy items like this instead of video game reviews, just let me know. I also get pickups from time to time. I don't really take a camera out on hunts. Sometimes there are trades at a trade group, or they are, you know, just like everybody else on the hunt at thrift stores and things like that. And I could show you what those are and do a video about that too. So let me know what you think in those comments down below. Remember, I'm the Retro Gaming Hippie. I don't buy nostalgia because I am nostalgia.